All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Abel Mireles. I'm one of the founders of the Jazz Exchange. We took a minute, we took a little break, but we are back and we're happy to start our exchange live sessions again this 2021. Today's we have a very special guest that I'm going to introduce a little later. I just have a couple of things that I'd like to fill you guys in. First of all, make sure to go to all the social media stuff that you like to check out. You know, like Instagram, we're there. Facebook, we're there too. As you probably checking this on Facebook or our YouTube channel as well. All our handles are on the screen. Instagram at the underscore jazz underscore exchange. Facebook is at TheJazzExchange.org. YouTube is slash the Jazz Exchange, and Twitter is at the Jazz Exchange. Also, you can see all the updates and everything that we do on our website at www.thejazzexchange.org. So make sure to stay in touch. We have several things coming up, like the ongoing situation that we have with our GoFundMe. This is our Jazz Exchange Relief Fund that we started as this pandemic started to help musicians. We're still rolling that out. We have a couple of projects that are coming up as part of our programs, like the virtual jazz sessions, where we do remote recordings for different musicians, and through that way we support musicians that are basically out of gigs, and they still got to pay some bills and whatnot. So if you want to come, if you want to become one of our supporters, go to our GoFundMe and or get in touch with us. There's also different ways that you can sponsor some of these virtual jazz sessions. Everything's done remotely from home. It's not the ideal way that we want to play jazz, but it's definitely like a very interesting way to approach how to stay creative in this time of pandemic. One of the other programs that we have is our education program. If you've seen some of our shows before, if you've heard about this, but we're so happy to always tell you about it, because we have students that have already come and been part of this program. They've come from the parts of the border of El Paso and Texas, El Paso, Texas, and Juarez, from the border of Mexico and the U.S. And they've come to a couple years already in a row to summer workshops. This last year was done virtually, but nonetheless it was great. And we have a couple of students that are actually going to schools like the new school that participated in this program. We really want to continue this. I think kids in that area in particular need support. So if you feel like you want to support one of the students to continue coming to this summer workshops that Jazz House Kids provides, please get in touch with us or go directly to our website. We want to thank some of our sponsors on this collaboration. Jazz House Kids, that always gives the students scholarships, and also ESMAR, that's been actually supporting some of the financial needs for the students to come all the way out here. So that's really exciting. Everything is on our website. I'm gonna reflect on this. Every year Black History Month stands as a time for us to not only reflect on our collective history and remember those who laid everything on the line for our freedoms, but to reignite our dedication to dismantling systemic barriers that prevent our nation from truly having justice for all. So it's a very important part of the year. I think we can all reflect on this meaning of this Black History month here in February that we're diving into, and because of that, we definitely we are open to learning from you guys about what it means to you this month. So make sure to go to the comments and type in whatever you think this means to you for our initiative. Um, we are celebrating the whole month. The Jazz Exchange Live session will spotlight different artists by amplifying Black voices and empowering Black artists as well. So, also part of our initiative is supporting local business, Black business owned. And so, for that, we actually have a business that we want to feature. If we can go to that, this business is called Touch of Greatness, and it's actually it's owned by Tayana and Ryan Moore. They're a couple, and he is an amazing chef, and she's a baker and treat maker. Let me tell you a little bit about them. The Touch of Greatness consists of two people, Tayana and Ryan Moore, a husband and wife duo. Ryan is the chef, and Tayana is the baker treat maker. Ryan's Ryan's side of the business is on the high end restaurant side. He has fed veal to John Legend, filet to Black Thought, and salmon to the Dipset rapper Hell Rel. Ryan has risen up to the ranks to work with great culinary artists such as George Perrier, Gordon Ramsay, Brian Duffy, Daryl Hammond, and others. They do catering. They do all. They're amazing. We've been in touch with them to help them be part of this, and we want you to get in touch with them through the social media that are you can see right now in there on the screen. We actually have something very special prepared for you guys tonight. They actually are we have a giveaway that they're offering for this particular show. The intention is the exchange. The Jazz Exchange is about that. Is really exchanging the communication and really connecting people as well. So connect with them, find out more about them. You see their social media. And be on the lookout because we have this getaway, especially now that also in February we celebrate the month of love. So if you don't know what you're gonna give to your lady, this might be the thing. So make sure to stay on. We're gonna let you know how you could get this. This is a really cool treat that they're giving away for this particular situation only. So. My producer over here is telling me that I gotta. Tayana's side of the business caters to wedding, everyday birthdays, and special events. Tayana specializes in specialty cakes and custom cakes and treats. Tayana was also first place winner of the Philadelphia Cupcake Wars competition. I mean, you gotta check out these businesses. You gotta make sure that you are in touch with your surroundings and with your community. So now, without further ado, I have the pleasure to talk today with today's special guest. I met the man. I've heard the legend, on the music and the recordings. I'm a saxophone player myself, and it's just an honor to have this wonderful musician and educator in the show. Please welcome Mr. Ram Blake. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm
Doing
doing
great.
good, man.
You're doing, by the way. You should take this up for a living,
Oh man, no way.
Seriously.
I want to play my horn.
I
But
hear you on
yeah,
that.
man. How you holding up, Ron? You doing okay?
I've been doing okay. I think like everyone else, I mean, it goes in spurts. You know, sometimes it's great, and you manage to find the focus and the intestinal fortitude to see your way through some of these long days. And other times it's just difficult. I think like everyone else. I mean, we all have things that trigger us or get us into a place where it doesn't feel so good, especially not being able to perform, not
Right.
being able to play. I realized how much of my life was, outside of my family. I realized that, pretty much working, playing my horn, and being around my old students and working with them and doing stuff around town. With all of that stuff gone now for almost a year,
Yeah.
uh, it's a lot. It's a lot to to handle and try to manage and keep yourself in a good, in a good mental space. Let's just put it.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we've had the opportunity to talk to several guests, and it's definitely, I think, one of the things that we want to do is for other people to hear of the different ways of how we're dealing with this. Like, because sometimes we think that we're on this alone. Like, and and it could be really bad, and so you're not on this by yourself. If you're out there and you're really depressed, being a musician and not being able to play any gigs and things like that. We let's hope, hearing some of this things, as hard as it is, for everyone to deal with this. Hopefully, we can all help each other to really overcome this situation. How's your family doing, Ron? Your family's doing okay?
Yeah, we're doing great.
That's
We're doing great. I mean, everyone's managing. I would say we all have our moments, but I think that you know, we try to laugh, we try to love, and we try to, you know, keep it light as much as possible, and try to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think if we do that as much as possible, that's probably the most important thing that we can do right now. So um,
Yeah, that's right.
I'd say that, we're managing in all those departments somehow.
That's awesome, man. That's great to hear. I know, you are also an educator at Juilliard. How is that going on, man? You guys are doing virtual stuff. You guys doing a little bit on site stuff too as well.
Yeah, we have had the option. The most of the stuff that I do is virtual, and I did um, make some attempts to get into the school for a few weeks when they opened up um, in person
Mm-hmm.
uh, lessons back in the fall. But I think it's a challenge for us, teaching online. But in a lot of ways, it's afforded us some great opportunities. But also, you know, I think it's challenging for the students that we're also trying to manage um, taking a lot of the classes that were being offered online and then commuting to school to show up for in-person stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and just managing all of that, I think, has been a challenge for some of us. So I've resorted to doing most of my teaching, or all of my teaching,
On
actually
online.
remotely.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, is the whole thing of, you introduce somebody to something new, and then you tell them, oh, never mind, let's go back to, it's kind of been that feeling a little bit like, all right, let's just open up, let's just go back, and oh, wait, not, never mind, let's go back to. So it's it. I see the, yeah, your point of like, let's just, yeah, and as a saxophone player myself, and I get a chance to teach a little bit virtually. I told I told my students that this is might not be the most ideal way to do this. Like, especially jazz. I was telling you earlier, I had the chance
Right.
to actually. I was just teaching earlier before this session, and
Oh, really?
I was talking to some of the kids, and they're in the Dominican Republic, and so I don't know, man. It's been an interesting journey trying to figure out those. and really highlight to the students all those really cool things that they can do, and that will help them kind of oversee the bad things that we're going through. Like the whole thing
Yeah.
of recording themselves at home. You know, and if they want to get into kind of getting a little bit of gear here and there, or just techniques of how to even using the phone to record yourself, a little bit of lighting and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's definitely been something that we've been hearing from a lot of our guests, that they have different ways of how to approach the students. Do you mainly teach saxophone there, or you also actually teach an ensemble at Juilliard?
I'm not doing any ensembles. I'm just doing private
Oh,
lessons.
awesome, cool. That's
For the most part, that's my responsibility. I have a few students. It's a big saxophone faculty, but that's this is what it is. I think in some ways it suits the more responsible student that already has some momentum.
mm,
I think with younger students that where there's work that needs to be done on very fundamental things, where it's more practical to be in person and you can sort of just say like, look at this or listen to this, imitate,
right.
in that moment of having that. Sometimes I think that stuff translates a lot better in person, obviously.
Yeah.
But there were challenges with that too. I mean, with all the protocols in place for the students, they had their horns in bags,
Yeah.
you know, putting their hands through holes in the bags, and then they've got a mask on with a little flap to stick, and they're standing across the room, It, so in some ways, I'd rather do this just because I feel like at least, okay, prepare some material for me, record it. I want to see your hands. No, I don't need to see your hands. I just need to see, listen to what you're doing, whatever it is. Send me stuff in advance. We can talk about it. I can have some suggestions prepared, and I can have some things prepared just as far as listening or talking points, and maybe reference things. It's great to. I mean, not that I can't do this in the classroom, but I mean, it's great to be able to just pull stuff up
Yeah.
and share it in the Zoom, context. Oh, grab something off of YouTube, listen to this, or go, just grab some music to listen to or something, and say, oh, this reminds me of this, or check this out. Have you heard this before?
Yeah.
And that's fun. I mean, I think that, like I said, the obvious things where you don't have that tangible connection, and so much of what we do, and so much the nuance of learning this music and playing this music comes more from the community and the interaction that's involved, and you have to be engaged in that way to really be, I think, successful sometimes as a teacher. Although we know that a part of what we do learning this music is a lot of transcribing. We spend a lot of time listening to recordings and doing a lot of work on our own. I think having that one-on-one or that feedback with someone in a live setting is also helpful, just to guide you. I don't like to. I don't. I like to, for myself anyway. I like to see where a student might be going. So that if there's something that's some potential, or something that's possibly unique and individual that can be developed, that I can help
Yeah.
to form a curriculum around that, as opposed to you have to know these things. I mean, there are things that you have to, under, undeniably, there are things that you have to know about playing the instrument and about trying to play the
Mhm.
music well, and different styles of the music. But that all comes. I mean, at the end of the day, you want everyone to find their individual self, and to be able to develop that and cultivate that in a positive way, and work with others. I think that's what makes this music entirely fantastic and great, as a tool in music education across the board, not just in jazz alone. But
Yeah,
in other areas as well.
man. I totally, yeah. I'm totally with you on that. I was talking about specifically about that. Like, I was talking to one of my students in one of my lessons, and the topic came, like, because this when you on site, you you know you're learning by just being there, like, and listening right there, and then and how do you teach that over Zoom, like, now, I'm asking my students to do things that, but they're like, oh, teacher, but the audio was like cutting off and stuff like that. So it's definitely like a very interesting situation. I really like your idea, like your way of asking, you know what, just prepare something, maybe just record yourself, and then we can watch it, instead of like trying to you play it over Zoom. Sometimes it becomes really hard. Hey, Ron, man, I was just talking to you earlier about the last time that I saw you, and I think that's the time that, well, probably I met you before that, but I remember last time I saw you was close to 2 years ago when you were a special guest at Jazz House Kids for one of the summer workshops. And man, it's good memories to think back of when we used to play in person, right? Man, yeah, I love your playing. Yeah, and as you expressing your teaching, and man, and you as a saxophone player, I think you're an inspiration, not just for myself, but I'm sure for a lot of people. You are a member of the, besides being a true artist that's put in albums, that's toured and really done the hard work. You're also this jazz musician that's also like part of the NBC Saturday Night Live band, and you've been part of it for several years. Can you talk about the balance of having a jazz career and then also having this major gig that's also like really cool?
Well, I think you probably kind of answered the question right there. Um, you know, it's it's amazing. It's a blessing. First of all, I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity. Um, and I would say just to anyone listening that's interested more just from the standpoint or of how do you get there or how do you manage those things. Um, I think they go hand in hand in a way. I think a lot of what I learned from being a jazz musician and having to be ready to go in sometimes some of the in not so favorable conditions, long travel days, hotel rooms not ready, no food, but you got to get on stage or your luggage didn't show up and you're like in clothes you've been in on a train or an
Right.
airplane for like 12 hours or something and you're like, okay, yeah, go play the gig. I think that that kind of stuff prepares you to be very adaptable in many musical situations, and I think that that's what the SNL gig is.
Mm.
It's just in a very concentrated space.
Mm.
It happens all in the course. For me, just being a member of the band, it really comes down to one full day on Saturday that I'm there in the studio,
Mm.
and I'm required to be ready to do whatever, and I like the challenge, and I think that the things that um, gave me the opportunity to be a good ensemble player playing in any sort of situation, starting in school bands as a kid, and eventually doing all the things that you've seen me do professionally as a jazz musician. Um, you have to be able to play with other people. You have to be able to listen really well. You have to know what your role is. I think that's very important. You have to know what your role is in a situation, um, and you have to know that being on time doesn't mean showing up, you know,
Right at the
right
time.
before the down. That means you show up like 30 minutes,
That's
20
right.
minutes, 30 minutes before you're supposed to start rehearsing or whatever, and be ready to go, and have that stuff together. Um, if there's music that's sent to you in advance, make sure you know what it
Hmm.
sounds like and that you can play it.
That's right.
That kind of thing. So, the gig, there's a lot of reading on SNL. That's the entire gig. So in some ways, that's been very different than a lot of the gigs that I did professionally over the years. I would say like the more I got into working with working bands, steady groups, we had material that we learned or we rehearsed. A lot of times we didn't rehearse. We just learned stuff on the road.
Right.
And you get to playing music and you're not so much stuck to a page. I always used to like to revisit taking music with me on the gig
Hmm.
and forcing myself to sort of, okay, let me read this. Yeah, I know I've played this chart 100 times, but I'm going to read it tonight
Mm.
just to see if, it just uh, making another sense sort of get involved in the experience of using your eyes and not just your ears. Does it get something else going in your imagination and your creativity and bring something else out for you in the experience that you're interacting with other musicians? So the fundamentals, so that's, I mean, I would say between, managing all the things that I've done, I mean, there's definitely sacrifices that have had to be made along the way. I would say that, you know over the last several years, I've been able to incorporate more performing outside of the show because
Mm.
I've been able to manage my schedule a lot better, and I kind of know, okay, these are the times when I have breaks, and I can plan a year in advance. Like, okay, during the winter months, which is not really the greatest time to be traveling, but during the winter months, I know I have long breaks, for
Hmm.
example, and I can book stuff for myself or make myself available to do stuff with, with like Christian, for example, or whatever. And then the same thing with the summertime. My schedule pretty much, my season ends in May.
Hmm.
It sort of runs concurrently with my school calendar. So I'm teaching and doing the show for the most part between the fall and the spring. And then I have 3 months in the summer that I can really focus on doing as much playing that I love to do um, when that time comes. So that's I've learned what that feels like, and I've embraced it.
Yeah.
Because it's giving me opportunities to do more of my own things locally, and get back to recording and stuff like that on my just self-producing my own my projects and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So that's what the balance is. That's what it feels like. That's what it looks like. But to the young musician, if there are any on here tonight, I would say it's the fundamentals. Being really well versed in the fundamentals. Not just being able to shred or play um, every tune in all keys, but again, can you read? Can you blend with the section? Can you listen to instruction? Do you know what your role
Mm.
is in this organization when someone calls you? And those things, I think, lead to other opportunities.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
man. I think I think it's fascinating, and it's amazing that you're sharing the way that you approach the balance of all those different things that you do. I really want to dig into that, but before that, can we have some music that you prepare for us,
mhm.
that we would like to share? And the first tune is a song titled Teddy. Can you talk about this song real quick? That's
He was so
awesome.
supportive and so encouraging, um, and just someone that I looked up to all the years when I was starting out my career in Chicago. He used to come and play at the Jazz Showcase every year, um, and I used to go and just sit. You know, after a while, they got used to me being there. You know, and they'd let me buy a Coke for $5 and sit in the back. You know, so I listened to Bobby play a lot, and I think he's just a master improviser. And above all, he was just a beautiful human being. So that's what brought me to wanting to record it. It was one of the situations that I got to work with him indirectly.
Uh, Man, we just trying to figure out if let us know if you can hear us for I think for a second seems like we lost audio. It's back. Awesome. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
Myron Walden. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, Myron.
Yeah. Hey man, so that's so amazing to have just a close up relationship with a jazz legend like like Bobby. Can we let's listen to Teddy and then really dive in more on this conversation. This is Teddy off of your album, and hope you guys enjoy. This is Ron Blake. Man, that was swinging. Uh, okay, so I know that was Christian McBride on bass.
So and I really had him play this tune. The record Shayari that I
Hmm.
did on Mack Avenue was the last one I did for Mack Avenue a very long time ago. Um, the whole notion of that record was to do duos and trios. So
Mm.
Michael Cain was playing piano, was the producer, and we had several special guests come in. Christian being one of them. Who else? Who else did the? This is terrible.
What do you remember? What was that? When was that album out? Was that
2008.
2008? Cool, cool. Through
Maybe.
Mack Avenue. Uh,
Yeah.
man, it's man. This sounds amazing. I mean, the trio sound of it, and of course, that quarter note of Mr. McBride. And yours. I mean, you're playing and Michael's playing. It's unbelievable, man. Thank you for sharing this with us. I know Myron was saying that he doesn't think he has that recording, so he's gonna have to bootleg that.
I'll send it right over, Myron.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Uh, as right before we were talking, we showed this song. We were talking about like the different things that you were doing and how you figuring out your calendar to do the show and to do some gigs and to do some touring and then you're teaching. Man, it makes me think of like somebody like Christian McBride as well. Like that honestly for me and I'm sure for a lot of other younger musicians and older probably too. You guys are really the cats that are really an inspiration and guys that are really making it. You look at somebody like Christian too. It's a guy that's like touring. He's recording. He does radio shows. I mean, the balance and the diversity of things that you do as a musician today. You guys are like the cats that somehow exemplify that. Um, can you elaborate? I know you also mentioned that you created you founded an Caribbean Jazz Institute. Is that right? Is that what it's called?
Correctly, it was called the Caribbean Jazz Institute. That I started about 5 years ago, um, under invitation of a good friend of mine, an old classmate of mine from Northwestern, um, up at Snow Pond,
Mm.
up in Maine, in Sydney, Maine. And we did 3 summers. Last summer, obviously, was an off summer. And this year, they're changing things up a bit because they're still in the midst of this and they're bringing back musical theater. So we're not going to be there in person anyway
Mm.
this year. But last summer, I mean, I'll tell you a little bit about what the notion of that was for me. Caribbean Jazz Institute. You know, I wanted to use music of the Caribbean and not any specific part of the Caribbean, but um, I think English and French speaking places that may not always be represented
Mm.
in jazz, in modern jazz, as much as Afro-Cuban, Latin, different
True.
types of Latin music that are represented in jazz, in the jazz idiom. So it's always been my interest. I mean, I started a band with my best friend Dion
Mm.
Parson years ago, called the 21st Century Band, and it was dedicated to playing Caribbean music, but with jazz, well, or improvisation, a lot of improvisation. And so the Jazz Institute several years ago, when I got the invitation to come up to Maine and start the institute, the notion was basically to take Caribbean music and use that as the underpinning for teaching the fundamentals of jazz improvisation. You know, and that's what we did. I mean, we had a successful run. Unfortunately, like I said, it's not going to be. We won't be picking it up there this year, but hopefully, we'll be able to continue it. The dream is to have it happen down in the Virgin Islands eventually, back at
Nice.
home. That'd be great. Um, Last summer, my my buddy Dion Parson started what he called it was a virtual camp last summer that he called the Caribbean Music Institute,
Hmm.
and we had some of the alumni from the Caribbean Jazz Institute and from some of his programs in the VI participate in that and do recordings, virtual recordings, and we also were able to expand to involving younger students from grade 8 and up um, through high school. And we had classes online every day, theory, some technology stuff, ear training,
Hmm.
ensembles. I ran a few ensembles and put together virtual recordings.
Oh, cool.
I was in had some kids at home that were able to go into the studio and put down, you know, some fundamentals in a studio together.
Nice.
And I was, I was producing from right here
From home.
on my laptop.
Man, that's
You
amazing that that you're so involved and invested in really, because I mean, you being originally from the Virgin Islands, really just saying, hey, look, there's a lot of talent there that needs to be cultivated too. Reminds me of we had actually I have another collaboration with besides the Jazz Exchange with a partner of mine, Peter Lin. Shout out to Peter Lin. We have Yarber Entertainment. We actually had a chance to actually work with the. I'm blanking right now on the name of the organization, but I believe it's the Virgin Islands Jazz Institute. We actually did a virtual collaboration with some students that were just amazing.
United Jazz
I'm sorry.
Foundation, probably United Jazz
Yeah,
Foundation. I think is
that's
probably
right. That's right. That's the organization. We through
yeah. That's Dion's
That's Dion's
organization.
organization. Oh wow, man! That
Yeah.
we actually we were working on putting the the virtual concert together for the
Okay.
National Jazz Museum in Harlem. They're the ones
Right.
that connected, and they needed us to help. So man, it was amazing. Man, I was like, this.
So when that concert that you put to that concert, those students were actually coming from the camp in Maine
Oh,
when they
okay.
did. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing, man.
Each one team, just get
That's
collaboration.
that I'm so so happy that we were actually able to help them. And I remember checking out some of the videos, because we do the whole production, and you get the video separately and everything. And we work with, and I was like, oh wait, what are, oh, this cats can play. I was like, I've never heard the steel pan. you know I never knew it had so many notes. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about too. Yeah,
Uh,
he's gonna be amazing.
yeah, I was like, oh shoot, you could do that with the steel span. But man, which brings me to ask you, how was it for you, man? I know you mentioned a little bit about meeting Bobby, um, in your early years in music. How was it? Can you share with us how was it for you to come up from the Virgin Islands, and playing your horn and really trying to learn this music?
I would say that I'm not as I'm not a youngster, so I would say that when I was learning how to play, I would say that at that time, music education had become a huge component of the curriculum in public schools. So the push was there and the support was there in the community and from the Department of Education to really support public schools having great ensembles. And we had great young teachers, some of whom I stay in touch with to this very day,
Nice.
that they cared about us and they worked us hard.
That's good.
And it was a thing. We had summer music programs where we were putting on concerts like every week. We did big concerts from the time I was in elementary school, fifth, sixth grade. And it was that was, I would say, that was sort of equated to or equivalent to, what I guess some families or students would look at today with the whole sports thing.
Yeah.
you know. But back then, um, music was just as big a part of the environment, and in the community, music was a big part of the community. So, and I aspired to get to be a part of the high school band, which I would eventually um, matriculate to, and that was a big deal. That was one of the best ensembles. It was a big ensemble. Um, but it was one of the most happening things to be able to play in the high school band.
Nice.
So, I worked towards that, and I had teachers that recognized potential and pushed me and found extra materials for me to, go check out this book, go sit and learn, learn this, go, listen to this, that kind of thing. And I just, you know, I went with it because it was so much fun for me.
Yeah.
It was something to do. I I wanted to play football like my older brother, but I was a bit of a runt back then. The the growth spurt came a lot later. I played tennis, but I wasn't going to make it onto the football team. So I stuck with the saxophone, and their schedule, the music schedule, the band schedule, and everything was the same as the sports schedule. So everything just kind of worked out as it should have, I guess.
That's awesome, man. And so how was it? How was the like the first time that you met Bobby? And I'm sure you said that he was a he was. Would you say that he was kind of an inspiration? I mean, a mentor to you? And how did that relationship grow to play with him? We actually have a video that you wanted to show. I don't know if we want to do that now, but if you want to talk to us a little bit about the relationship with
Yeah,
Bobby and
I met Bobby when I was a little bit older. I was out of school at this time. I'd finished college, and just I had studied classical saxophone
mm,
with Fred Hemke, the late um, Frederick Hemke was my teacher for 6 years,
ooh,
along with Jim Bishop and some other people along the way. But those were my two primary teachers, and I just happened to be at home, sort of in between things. I taught for a year at my old high school up at Interlochen Arts Academy, alongside Dr. Hemke, and but I also had this dream of becoming a pharmacist. I don't know why I was
interesting.
lost in that for a minute, but so I also used to work as a technician in a pharmacy, in hospital pharmacies too. That was like my day gig when I first got out of college. So after a year of going back and forth with that, I got an opportunity to go home and teach in a summer music program. They put the jazz festival together, and I was one of the local musicians that was invited to participate. And over the course of the week, they sort of made it like, those jazz party sort of
Mm,
formats where they have, the guest artists play with local musicians also, just kind of mix it up and have different bills and stuff like that. So that's how I got to meet Bobby. I got to Jimmy Hamilton was still living in St. Croix. Clarinetist that played with Duke Ellington.
mm,
He taught, in fact, in the public school system in St. Croix for many years. Um, and he would come over to be a guest on a concert with Dizzy Gillespie.
mm,
So I got to open for Dizzy and play
mm.
with Dizzy. And I played with Bobby several times. And then Gary Bartz was like one of the headliners. He came down with his rhythm section, and his rhythm section was the rhythm section for all the headliners. So I spent a lot of time around those guys. Richie Cole was also
Ooh,
there, great alto player. Just passed away not
mm,
too long ago.
that's right.
So that was, one magical week in my life. I was probably about 21 years old, I think, at the time. And, I said, this is what I want to do. I mean, I, I don't want to go and, put drop pills in a little bucket in the hospital anymore. And
You know,
although it was fun, don't get me wrong,
right, right.
learning how to prep syringes and make IV bags and all that sort of stuff was fascinating, and it was high pressure and it was exciting work to do. But um, yeah, I just caught the bug and I just knew. So I went back to Chicago and kind of got stuck there. My plan was to go to New York. I had met um, Dizzy's manager, and he suggested that maybe I look for Dizzy when I came to New York. Dizzy was putting together that amazing orchestra that so many great young players would play in. Um, but I didn't make it to New York.
Mm.
I ended up things fell through, and I was stuck in Chicago. But as that turns out, that was really a great time for me to learn. Um, and there were great musicians, older musicians around Chicago that were really big influence on me. But people like Bobby, like I said, came through Chicago sometimes twice a year. Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers came through. I met, everyone would that are household names now. One of my fellow Virgin Islanders, John Toussaint, was playing tenor
Mm.
with. I heard Billy Pierce before that,
Nice.
Mulgrew, Donald Brown, early on. Uh, Terrence Blanchard, Donald Harrison, who I fell in love with to this day I think he's one of the most unique alto players ever.
Right.
Um, so I got to hear a lot of cats and be around a lot of music, and Bobby he like I said, I hung out at his gigs all the time, and he just shared some really valuable information with me about being present, about music and the music that I was trying to play, because I was excited to play with him, but I wanted, I would always ask him about trying to recapture what he'd done, like on some of his Blue Note recordings and stuff like that. And he was like, he just sat me down at breakfast one day. I went down to the hotel to meet him when it was we were still at the Blackstone Hotel. The showcase was still at the Blackstone Hotel, and he said you can't really do that because we're not living in that time. Socially, that energy doesn't exist. So you can't play to something that's not there. Your music should be reflective of what's going on around you.
Mm.
Um, and so he said to tune into that,
That's
practice, but be able to play what's happening around you, and to try to find ways to express that through your music, as opposed to being lost in what you think was great about old recordings. I'm paraphrasing for sure. He
right.
a lot more succinct about what he said to me because he was more concerned about having his breakfast. But yeah, it was really valuable information. But he was just someone that I really looked up to. And like I said, he played he played a ballad like no one.
Mm.
You could almost hear the lyrics of a song when he played. And and I've seen him. I remember one year he came through and he twisted his ankle getting off the bandstand, and he had his ankle was all bandaged up and everything, and he was kind of like standing on one leg playing the show.
Damn.
He played so beautiful, so incredibly. And I thought to myself, well, if he can do that with one leg, I should be able to get my stuff together.
Right. Man, thank you so much for sharing the stories. I just always find it fascinating when when people share the stories in their relationship with somebody, with legends like Bobby Hutcherson, and and it always just comes down to those real relationships are you know cultivated throughout the years. Like it sounds like you're telling us this is not something that it's like express relationship. I go to your gig and can you get me some gigs, or that sometimes we fall into or to think that that's the way to go. I'm not bashing anybody. I sometimes, maybe myself, I would have, that we wanted so much that we're just like, I'm gonna go to this gig, I'm gonna introduce myself to this person, and yeah, man, I'm cool. Yeah, sounds good. I'm gonna take a lesson with you, and it's like we're hearing from you. It's like you met him back home, and then throughout the years started connecting, and like it was so organic and like so real. Um, with that in mind, would you mind if we share that clip of you performing with Bobby? Is that cool?
Sure.
Awesome. So this is off of a concert at Jazz Baltica, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys are
Right.
playing somewhere in the night. I believe there's.
Which is
I'm sorry.
he recorded that. It was recorded on a Joey DiFrancesco. That's when I recorded with Bobby. Was on a Joey DiFrancesco session called Organic Vibes,
Organic vibes.
and we toured with that record.
Nice.
Bobby did a few shows with us.
Nice. So we're gonna show you guys this just a portion of it because I know the video we time kind of limited on timing, but we'll show a part of it. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll work it out to show this video of somewhere in the night. All
Yeah.
right. Man, amazing video. We're gonna actually share the link with you guys so you can check it out. It was a little bit buffering over here on that end, but man, it's such an amazing performance. You Ron, you mentioned this was part of a tour with actually
It was Joey
with Joey
DeFrancesco.
DeFrancesco's.
Yeah. Band.
How was
Yeah.
that? How was that gig, man?
Oh, great. Joey's awesome, really. And he'd done a recording of mine that was released on Mack Avenue. My first release on Mack Avenue featured Joey and Greg Hutchinson on drums.
Hmm.
And there's actually, yeah, some more music from that session that hasn't been released yet.
Oh,
I got to get
really?
around to that. That was like 20 years ago. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I got some music in the can. I got another one, but working with Joey is a true joy. He's just a powerhouse. I mean, he's awesome. He's got huge
Yeah.
ears and swings like all day and night. So he's done some stuff with me in promotion of my record, and then he was out touring a lot. So when we toured that record, Bobby met us at some of the big festivals and performed with us,
Nice.
which was incredible. On the record, um, George Coleman is actually on the record as well. So that was, yeah, believe me, I was standing in the studio with those two cats. If you ever get a chance to check that one out too, Organic Vibes,
Organic vibes.
because Bobby plays a ballad on there that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. You mentioned it. I know we have it there on the queue. It's Delilah, right? Is that what it is?
Oh yeah, yeah. You should put that one up. Maybe put that one up in the
We
chat
will
too
do
for
that
folks.
definitely.
I saw that the buffering thing was.
Yeah, sorry about that. Apologies for everybody checking it out, but we're gonna share the links, so that
That's
you can.
definitely like one of my favorites. And my dear friend, now departed, Dwayne Burno, was playing in that band
Burner.
also. He played with Bobby quite a bit, and I just listen to Bobby's solo. I mean, that in itself it pretty much just kind of says everything about him.
Yeah, man.
In a few.
As you were mentioning that you also have some stuff there in the can that you also mentioned that you have a project that you're trying to put out pretty soon. Is Can you talk about it a little bit, or you kind of want to wait? How, what,
Sure. I'll just say that there's a session that I did a couple years ago, and I just went back into the studio and finished it up with Bobby Broom on guitar and Nat Reeves on bass and Kobe
Mhm.
Watkins um, on drums, and also Ruben Rogers is going to be on a couple
Nice.
tracks as well. So yeah, it's just something that I've been wanting to do for years. I never, I was a, Bobby Broom was, again, this is a good example of the relationship thing, but it's just someone that I met very early on in Chicago. And I think at the time he was working with Sonny Rollins, but he was living in Chicago.
Mhm.
And we became really good friends, and he hired me to work in his band. And I learned a lot from him. And I would later, before I left Chicago, I played a bit with him. We recorded, and but then I would later do a crisscross record with him some years later. Um, but this is the first time that we actually got to sit down and do an entire record together.
Mhm.
So
Excited.
that I'm sure that's going to be happening sometime this year. I'll get to putting that out into the world. It's lovely. I really enjoyed making it, and like I said, Ruben Rogers, my homeboy. Um,
Shout out.
Shout out to my homeboy Ruben Rogers. Also came through and contributed to a few tracks as well. So yeah, it's gonna be nice. So I'm looking forward to getting that done.
Man,
You know.
that's really awesome. Definitely will be looking forward to checking it out and sharing it. For the listeners, we put in all the links on the chat, so you can check out how to contact Ron, how to follow his music. We just shared Mack Avenue, where you can share you can check out all the albums that he's put through Mack Avenue. Um, a Ron, for the situation that we're all in with the pandemic. I know you mentioned you actually put out something out of a collaboration during the pandemic. Is that correct? For because we got a tune that you prepared for as a it's called For James. Is that out of a collaboration virtually?
John, yeah, it was a virtual collaboration. John Hadfield, great percussionist and composer, um, and incidentally was also my I studied privately with him when I was getting my master's at NYU some years ago, and we've remained friends. And he wrote this piece. I think it was originally performed by that project that Yo-Yo Ma has. He's part of Silk Road.
Mhm.
I think he's a part of that collaboration, and they performed this piece for. It was written for James Baldwin, and he decided to release it as a single, and he asked me to, to collaborate on it with him. So everything that you hear on there was done pretty much right here where I'm sitting right now. I recorded, I think, I only recorded three saxophones, soprano, tenor, and Barry. I think.
Oh,
I mean,
only
multiple
only
parts.
three saxophones.
Yeah, but multiple parts. It's like electronic music, and it's fun. But I mean, I think what's great about it, especially in this month, it also includes excerpts of a speech
Mm.
by James Baldwin that is a part of the song, and just so much of what he's saying is still so true today. And it was a good place for me, and I had read The Fire Next Time over the summer, and it just sort of worked out. And I had been bugging John about just doing some things since I knew that I'd seen him releasing a lot of stuff on social media, and I said, why don't you send me some tracks so I could work on something, and then one day he was like, well, actually, I'm getting ready to do this track. Would you like to do it with me?
Mm.
And it's really cool. I think all the proceeds from the sales, the downloads of the song go to the Baldwin House
Mm.
in France.
Nice.
So it's a charitable function endeavor on his part. So I was really glad to be a part of it, for sure. So it's kind of cool. But that's probably the only thing that been released commercially
Mm.
that I know of that was done during this time, that I've, yeah, literally sat in my apartment and just kind of said, okay, I'll try this now.
I tried this thing. So let's check it out, man, because this is also very interesting to see what type of collaborations. This is also on all the platforms, if I'm not mistaken. It's in Spotify and all of that, so you can check it out too and put on your playlist and whatnot. So this is For James, and so hope you guys enjoy it.
I don't consider myself an expatriate. I don't consider myself an exile. I stayed away long enough to grow up, as I put it. So I split. I didn't know what was going to happen to me in Paris, but I knew what was going to happen to me here. In a sense, one could say that my life in Paris prepared me to go south. Because I would never have gone south if I'd stayed here. If I'd stayed alive, I'd have been a junkie or a prisoner. I'd have been in no state to go to Montgomery, Alabama. The doctrine of white supremacy, which is what I mean by racism, comes out of the so-called old world. It wasn't born in America, it was brought here. French will say, you must be very happy to be here, but we don't treat Negroes the way you're treated in the States. And we're not racist like the Americans are. Well, I looked around me, and I could see that the reason that they could be so tolerant, as they thought, was because they didn't have any niggas in Paris. They were working for them far away, you know, Senegal, Algeria, and so forth. And so it was not a part of the social fabric. And of course, it was very good for me in a way, except my mama didn't raise no fools. You know, I realized almost at once that the Algerian was a nigger in Paris. I was poor. I was with them in the same jails with them, the same hotels, sleeping shifts. But I know the way they were treated. And in a way, that's what drove me home. Because I could see what was happening in my country was the same thing that was happening in France. And since I was not French, couldn't do anything there, I came home because I didn't want to duck it. Now the doctrine of white supremacy, which seemed to have affected Europe less, the cities of Europe, London, Paris, Belgium, Berlin, it's come back to Europe. And the same thing is going on in the European cities as is going on in the American cities.
I can't be a pessimist. I can't be a pessimist. I can't be a pessimist.
I went to France in 1948 when I was quite young. I went in $40. No French, no one-way ticket. Or in other words, I was getting out of here. Let's leave New York. And the reason I left New York was I knew that one fine Tuesday was leave New York. And the reason I left New York was I knew that one fine Tuesday. So I split. I didn't know what was going to happen to me in Paris, but I knew what was going to happen. I grew up in Paris anyway, and then I came back. In a sense, one could say that my life in Paris prepared me to go south. Because I would never have gone south if I'd stayed here. If I'd stayed alive, I'd have been a junkie or a prisoner. I'd have been in no state to go to Montgomery, Alabama. As for, I don't consider myself an expatriate. I don't consider myself an exile. I stayed away long enough to grow up, as I put it. And now I'm a commuter, I suppose. I was poor. I was with them in the same jails with them, the same hotels, sleeping shifts. I realized almost at once that the Algerian
I can't be a pessimist. I can't be a pessimist. I can't be a pessimist.
might be talking about Amsterdam. If you are not very, if you don't use us as an example, by which I mean the American example, you should learn from all of the horrors perpetrated by your children. America comes out of Europe. I was born in Harlem. You have a Harlem, you got a Brooklyn. America comes out of Europe. America comes out of Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, that's a deep tune right there, man. Quite a collaboration, and it's unbelievable. You guys do it. You did it all remotely. It's an
Yeah.
inspiration.
He's in Paris. Yeah, he's in Paris right now.
There you go. So
So
that's real. Thank you so much for sharing, man. It's I know we're already running out of time here, and it's been such an amazing time to just talk to you and hear some of this, the ways that parts of your journey. Thank you so much for sharing and for coming into the show. We really appreciate your time. We know you're a busy guy. We were gonna book you on Saturday, but we knew you had a little conflict there, so we're like, let's just do it on Wednesday. But we always looking forward to hearing you play and hearing the music that's coming out, man. Looking forward to as soon as you put it out, we'll check it out and share it in different platforms, and hopefully one day we can actually have you at one of our secret shows. We run a program of secret shows, and maybe one day with your band once we get back to playing together.
I would love to.
Man,
I would love to.
it'll be amazing, man. Well, before we wrap it up, we have our giveaway. We're gonna do really quick to whoever's live right now. As we mentioned before, we have a giveaway for the special business that we're featuring today, which is called Touch of Greatness. As I mentioned at the beginning of this show, at the end of it, we would actually give something that Tayana and Ryan actually have prepared for us. So it's very simple. All you have to do is what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick a number between 1 and 50, and you're gonna just type it into the chat right now. And you just gotta make sure you go to social media and like their page, follow our page, whatever. But the main thing is pick a number, and then our friend Ron here will just do the honors and pick one of those numbers. and the first one that types in that number that matches whatever Ron gets, then we will contact them. Then we also have a 10% coupon for everyone. So get in touch with us. We get you that. And as the main thing is that we're supporting local businesses. So make sure that you support your community. This is a way to do it. This is a way to get in touch with them, especially right now that all local businesses are going through a really rough time. So we want to thank them for being part of this too, and mainly our very special guest today, Mr. Ron Blake. So Ron, type in your number right now. Everybody just type in your number, whatever you pick. Only one time, and we'll only pick one number, and then Ron will give us the honor in case we don't match the number. What are we gonna do? I guess the closest number. Sorry, my producer over here is getting mad at me. But again, Ron, just so everybody just type in your number. We'll contact you. We'll send you the giveaway. So the giveaway is Touch of Greatness, Sophisticated Sweets and Treats. This is for for Valentine's. It's $20 off of your purchase of $100. And must be on a customized Valentine's Day gift box. So it's just an interesting thing to be prepared for Valentine's Day. So anyways, going back, type in that number, we'll contact you. Ron, again, going back to you, thank you so much, man, for being on the show. And we will see you hopefully sooner than later live. Can we switch to Ron, please? Thank you. Thank you so much again, and stay safe, please.
Your producer is talking to you. Thank you all for having me. I'm going to continue to try to be productive and creative with this downtime. Interesting collaboration also that I'm getting involved in recently is called blackuniversity.com.
Okay.
So black dash or hyphen university.com. So check that out for some interesting things coming up. Everybody stay safe.
Please.
If you can, stay healthy, stay sane,
Stay safe.
get help, reach out for help as much as you can. It's really important. These are very difficult times for all of us.
Yep.
And I think it's important for you to know that help is out there. You just got to reach out and ask for it.
Definitely.
Help will get to you.
Yes.
Everyone that needs it. So I appreciate you giving me this platform to share the time with you and talk a little bit about just what my life is like. And, good luck to you both. I'm glad you all are healthy.
Thanks,
Doing well.
Ron.
Thank you, Miss Producer.
Candace is over there in the board. So, Ron, you and your family, please stay safe. And
Thank you.
again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts to coming into the show and sharing so much stuff with us, and all the audience members that came through. Give us that number, that magic number, man. What's it gonna be?
Oh, now you ready for
Sure,
me?
we're ready.
1 through 60.
I say 24.
There you go. 24. You're the winner.
Maurice Lynch.
Maurice Lynch, you are the winner. So we'll send you that information. All right. She's
Right.
Ron, again, thank you so much again, and we'll be in touch, man. And we're looking forward for that music. Okay. We'll
Right.
see you on Saturdays. Okay.
Definitely. I'll see you this Saturday for sure.
For sure. Everyone, thank you all so much for coming. Have a great night. See you next Wednesday. We have Leslie Vonner coming into the show, so make sure to tune in Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. All right, thank you all. Have a good night.